welcome to episode 17, the Great Canadian Hockey Podcast. On behalf of myself, James Parisi, and my co-host Aidan Sarah, I'm feeling pretty damn good today. I'll talk a little bit more after we see how you're doing, because what kind of friend would I be if I just talked about myself only? I do that sometimes, but yeah. How you doing, Aidan? What's new with you?
I'm good. So we're recording this on a Thursday. It'll probably be like a Saturday, Sunday release. Game one of my team's first round is tomorrow. So it's been like I've got 4 games in 6 days coming up, but it still feels like it almost kind of feels like the worst is behind me as far as feeling stretched. Like all the preparations are done. Now I just get to like do the part of the job I really like, which is nice. So I'm recording this on a Thursday, feeling a lot less tense than if me and James were going on a Tuesday, Wednesday this week. So yeah, feel relaxed, man. Feel relaxed.
Yeah, definitely. I can echo that. I'm feeling pretty relaxed too. It's one of my only days off. I get Thursday and Friday off every week, and one of my favorite things to do once a month is I live like corner of Burnaby, East Van type thing. I drive over to North Vancouver, go see my barber, get a haircut, and I stop at my favorite brunch place, Deuce Diner, just off Marine Drive. Get the best eggs Benny I've ever had. My absolute favorite. They just do such a killer job of it. Had a couple of my friends visit me, stop by and visit me for brunch there, meet up. I got to show them an Eggs Benny, and showing someone a great restaurant is like showing someone a great song. Once you see how much they love it, you feel that validation of, oh, yes, I put you onto this. This is awesome.
You know what? Like personal, it's personal. Obviously, for me, it's a movie thing, and maybe it's just because I'm a
Yep.
big movie guy.
Yep.
Um, I think my music taste, if I'm get like my music taste, I call like it's not. It's I
You're
don't have a
pretty
very
niche.
Am I niche? I was gonna say I have like it's my music taste. You're either gonna like it or you're not, right? Like, you're not just gonna be like, I'm gonna know if you're gonna like the songs I'm gonna recommend, right? So I'm never recommending something to somebody thinking that they might not like it. Like, I know somebody's gonna like something I show them, but movies is completely hit or miss, right? Because it's super
Mhm.
personal preference. Like, I've shown some of my favorite movies in the world to some of my friends and they've hated it, right? Or I've shown movies to my buddies and they've loved it, and so for me, it's a movies thing because that's more like oh, are they gonna like it? And then obviously it's happy when they do.
Speaking of movies, this brings up a very kind of funny topic. So far, the last few weeks, every Thursday, because like I said, I have Thursdays off. I go over to my buddy's place. We order a pizza and we watch one of the Transformers movies, and we've been watching them in sequence. And dude, those movies are quote machines. Peter Cullen, the voice of Optimus Prime, that guy is unreal. And like at the end of number two, he kills the Fallen guy who's like trying to blow up Earth and take its sun, basically. And the guy's name is the Fallen, and he puts his like sword through his chest and rips his head out, and he says, "I rise, you fall." And it's just like, oh. And I was such, like, a Linkin Park fan growing up as a kid, and so, like, you hear the Linkin Park song play at the end, like, "This is a message to any Autobots hiding among the stars. We are here." It's so good, but I'm kinda bummed out because tonight, because it's Thursday, I'm gonna go over to his place, and we've already made it through all of the Shia LaBeouf ones, so now I have to go to the Mark Wahlberg one that's, like, just fighting to keep the franchise alive and the story is garbage, and so I'm kinda bummed about that, but, it's just funny going back and watching movies like that, 'cause you notice some really, like, out of pocket stuff in a kid's movie. Like, I was
Yeah.
watching that movie as a kid, and dude, that Sector 7 agent guy should have caught a charge and ended up in prison for the things he was saying to teenage Megan Fox in that movie. That was messed up, but, it was as a kid, you never notice it. You're like, "Oh, he's
No
funny.
way.
Haha."
Yeah. No, it just goes right over your head.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like if you go back and watch SpongeBob as an adult, there's stuff hiding in there that you had no idea, man.
Well, even just I like SpongeBob because some of the sarcastic humor still hits, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah, it's quality stuff. Well,
yeah.
what do you say? Should we get to some hockey?
Yeah, you know what's funny? Just, another random thing, just the way you said hockey. I have every American player on my team says it like that. I've got a kid from Connecticut and
Really?
Greenwich, and you're watching Bulldogs hockey every time. It's funny.
Some Bulldogs hockey.
Yeah.
And does he say dags, not dogs?
I don't know if I've ever noticed that.
Okay, well, listen for it. Listen for it. And maybe say
Yeah.
it back to him like that too.
I don't think so. I would have noticed that.
Well, first on our list, we've got an interesting one. Uh, you think maybe Vegas and Seattle coming to the league in the last however many years. You think maybe we'll stop hearing expansion, teams moving, but the Coyotes exist and big markets exist. And as we've covered before, the NHL is a business and business is there to make some money. What do you think about these Atlanta Houston rumors? And for our listeners who don't know what's going on, maybe do you want to explain it a bit before I pop in?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. The NHL has wanted to expand a lot in the last few years, and Vegas and Seattle are two recent expansion teams. You've got Houston, which is the biggest city in North America, or I guess the biggest city in Canada and the States to not have an NHL team currently. So that's kind of made sense for a while. Sports fans in Texas are passionate. The Dallas Stars do pretty well. They've been a pretty solid team for a while. So I'm interested to see how Dallas would do if they were the 32nd place team in the league. Um, and then Atlanta's the other one that the rumors of a team going back to Atlanta for a third time have been circling around, and it's an interesting one, James. And obviously, my first vote is Quebec, right? Like it has to be. Um, you moved a team out of Winnipeg. And now they moved the Thrashers back to Winnipeg in 2011, and, could you imagine Winnipeg not having a team now? Right? No, of course you couldn't. So, I think it would be a similarly effective move to go back to Quebec City. Um, that it's an established market that's hockey crazy. The fact that the province of Quebec, for how many people there are and how big it is, only has one team is still a little bit mind blowing. Um, yeah, the Atlanta thing's weird, man. I don't know what to make of it. It's like, if at first you don't succeed, try again, I guess. But at some point, it's kind of just,
Well, three
are we
strikes, you're
seriously?
out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are we gonna give him a third strike? Because so,
Yeah, just one note on the Atlanta thing. I loved the Thrashers. I don't care that they were bad. I thought they had some of the coolest logo, color schemes, everything like that. Like their jerseys and logo before they went to the light blue, like when Kovalchuk came into the league, I thought those were some of the sickest jerseys. That color scheme was money. I absolutely love that. My most desired jersey in the world is an autographed framed Kovalchuk Thrashers jersey. Like I want that more than anything. I was such a Kovalchuk fanboy. If anyone ever wants me to put on sports highlights at 3:30 in the morning, my go-to is the one specific Kovalchuk video. It's just all of the cleanest wrist shots, and it's like it's like just some rap remix to it, and it's just that's my favorite video. I'll share it to you sometime. Actually, no, I'll save that for when I visit you because that could be one of our
we will
videos we
watch
watch
it.
when we
Yeah.
get home.
Okay.
But yeah, it's I would personally love to see it again because I think the league and hockey in general are in a different place right now. And also the fact that TNT is based in Atlanta. I think there's some stuff to go there. I think that I don't know. I think there's a lot of money to be made there and a lot of business experimenting to be done. I am as far from a business major as it gets, but population wise, I don't care if they're not all that interested in hockey. It feels doable. Flights through and around the states are pretty cheap if you're already in the south. It feels like something that's doable. I I would rather see Houston than Atlanta, though, because I think that in-state rivalry with the Stars, I think that's awesome. The Stars have dedicated, passionate fans, even though that how many people have you met that are Stars fans? I think I've met one. maybe, and that's like a casual fan. Um, I think uh, I think it's something that could work though. I think it's Texas is a pretty sports mad state. And I think you just throw something else into that mix. I think it's a pretty big money move, especially because if you look at like culture in Houston, there's a lot of fashion stuff going on around there. And hockey jerseys are starting to become fashionable around like influencers and athletes and other sports. So I think it's the kind of thing where like people would kind of latch on, they would see like basketball player, football player wearing a Houston whatever's jersey, like hockey jersey, going into their rink, into their arena, in their stadium, and I think they'd latch on like wildfire. I think Houston is definitely a better play. Um, Quebec City, we could talk about that all day. It's something we'd all love to see, especially being Canadians. But I think to fans in the States, they could care less. And, there's just more of a market and more money to be made there. The higher population, more people to buy tickets, more junior programs, stuff like that to be able to spread roots. There's already roots in Quebec. Like if you look at Bettman's model over his time as commissioner, it's spread roots further. And, we already have roots here. Screw these ones. Whatever. The soil's fine here. Let's grow something somewhere else. So I honestly don't think hockey will ever come back to Quebec City as long as Bettman's in charge. Who knows what his successor would be like? I just don't really think it's gonna happen, to be honest. But I'd love to see it, don't get me wrong. Another round in Nordiques or something else, that'd be pretty sick. But yeah, I think Houston's the best option above and far and above everything else.
Yeah, I think it would take a very motivated owner, right? Like it was the True North Sports and Entertainment Group that got the Jets to Winnipeg, and I don't think it happens without them. It's not just something that Batman would have been looking for. So I think, I think that's gonna be what it takes for Quebec to get their team is a group like that motivated to bringing them to Quebec. I agree with you that it's Houston over Atlanta. I really don't see a draw to giving Atlanta another kick at the can. The question that I was going to ask though is, would you rather go NHL franchise number 33 to Houston, or and I know the Coyotes' arena situation is getting ironed out, or do you think Houston
Is it
might
getting
be
ironed out though, or are they just giving us the runaround?
again, they're trying, right? And however that goes, if that goes poorly, obviously Arizona would be the leading contender for relocation, but do you think it's more likely we see NHL team number 33 or a relocation to Houston?
I think relocation's more likely. I think there's less motivated buyers to buy NHL teams right now than we think. And I don't know. There's definitely motivated buyers in the States that could latch onto that kind of thing eventually, but I think we're more likely to see someone buy the Coyotes than front the price for a new team. I'm pretty sure the valuations and stuff like that, like buying a new NHL team, like rink and infrastructure aside, is it not close to $1 billion for an expansion bid? So yeah, I think if someone were to go and buy the Coyotes and bring them over and get a new rink all set up or refashion something that's already in place, I honestly think that just seems like a better strategy if I'm the one paying the bill. I think I'd rather do that for sure. And then you look at the Coyotes, they have pieces. They have pieces that are gonna be exciting in the future and be able to put fans in the seats. And then no doubt you're gonna make it kind of exciting once you get the team. Add some pieces, add some players, find find a star in the twilight of their career to come fill some seats. It honestly, I think if I'm the guy fronting the bill, I want relocation, I don't want expansion.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Yeah, I think it's gonna. Yeah, Arizona's got a lot of work to do, and I think talking about relocating the Coyotes is a fruitless exercise, honestly, because of
Yeah, we've been talking about it most of our lives.
yeah. So I'm not too ready to be like, all right, well, let's start the process. But I do think that is the logical conclusion to that thought line or that line of thinking.
Actually, it's funny we're talking about this because as we've covered before, I always play franchise mode in the NHL games. In my first franchise mode of the year, I hopped on with the Coyotes and I relocated them after year 2 or 3 to Atlanta, and I was round 2 of the Thrashers. Had some sick jerseys all customized and made up, and Dylan Gunther was he was a sick Thrasher. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, moving on. Maple Leafs dealing with some adversity now. Ryan O'Reilly injured. He broke a bone or two in his hand. I believe it's a finger, something like that. Similar to what Nazem Kadri dealt with going in playoffs last year. And I actually think it's a really good time right now for the Maple Leafs to deal with some adversity. They brought in all these players, had all this excitement. Let's get some adversity being faced now. Let's not just roll into playoffs smoothly. Let's have something we have to overcome, something we have to achieve. I think it's, obviously I'd rather just see Ryan O'Reilly healthy and having fun and playing hockey and being part of a competitive team, but I think in the grand scheme of things, this might be good for the good old Toronto Maple Leafs. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say it's good, because
It's never good for a player to be injured. I agree.
no, 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 even just for the team though, right? Like you kind of have to. Is there a team that's gone through more adversity and more hardship than the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? Like if they need motivation to want to win or they need to fight through something, like I don't even know what to think of that because how much have they fought through, right? Like how many how many years in a row of playoff adversity have they faced, right? It's largely the same group now for the last few seasons. Um and I also think the fact that it's over, like if it was Marner, Matthews, Nylander, Tavares, that would be one thing. It's the fact that it's the new guy, right? It's the fact that it's O'Reilly who's only had 8 games to start playing with his line mates. Like if he's playing the rest of the time and he clicks like crazy with Nylander, Tavares, or Marner or something, right? Then all of a sudden you have a whatever line Matthews and Marner's on, then whatever line O'Reilly, Tavares, who are playing unbelievable together, are on. So I understand the sentiment. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's a good thing right now. I I honestly like it sucks for O'Reilly and I want I obviously have sympathy for him, but I still I still struggle to adopt the mindset that this is gonna matter because to me it's it's a Tampa Boston second round, and I don't think any amount of Ryan O'Reilly was gonna change that for Toronto as good as he is.
Damn, you're really just putting them in the coffin already. Already marking up their gravestone. Already booking their tea times. Damn, you're really just throwing them in the gutter that quick.
I really think it takes something really special to beat this version of Andre Vasilevsky, man. Like that's my thinking. And the Colorado Avalanche was that something special. I think the Boston Bruins are slated to be that something special. Um,
I think
but
they're losing the second round.
yeah, yeah. I if I'm making my bracket, I actually have him out in the third. But so to me, Toronto's not going to be Vasilevsky, right? Like that's he's my guy, right? I think we made a top five a few weeks ago, and he was in my five, right? I think I even went so far I was like he might be the most talented goalie or the most dominant goalie of all time, right? Just
Could
because
be.
yeah, but I mean, and part of it, it's not about numbers, it's not about accomplishments. It's about put Andre Vasilevsky in the 1980s, and Buddy has a .05 goals against average and a 995 save percentage. You put the best goalies from the 80s now, they've got above 5 goals against averages and under 700 save percentages. Right, that's my point. We can debate numbers and accomplishments all we want. I think I said this was what I said is every best goalie in the league is really like the new best goalie that's ever played, right? Because the goaltending position continues to evolve and continues to get better. And I've referenced this before, even like when you and I started watching hockey in the late 2000s, early 2010s, you take those goalies, you put them next to the goalies today, that's night and day even from then, right? Let alone the decades prior. And I think I really think Toronto, like Samsonov could get really hot, Matt Murray could get really hot, but that goaltending battle is so slated that I just think that's tipping the scales.
Well, that's totally fair. So, what do you think? They're out early in the first round? You think they fight it through? Think they push it to 7 again? What do you think?
It's tough. That's a really it's really tough to say. I think it'll go 6 or 7 again. I don't think Tampa is gonna, like, have their way with them, but it'll go deep, but I just I don't see them getting over the line.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if there's any year with this core, it's this year. This is if there's one, this is the one.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that when you look at Toronto, but I think for that to be true, you'd have to kinda also look at their opponent, and I don't think Tampa like, Kucherov is playing some of the best hockey he's ever played. Braden Point is playing some very good hockey, and then you've got guys like Alex Killorn is quietly having a great year. Brandon Hagel is quietly having a great year. The only one on that whole team, really, to me, that's not that has disappointed me this season's Hedman. Steven Stamkos isn't quite the that upper echelon of player that he was a couple years ago for Tampa, but
You mean last
he's
year?
yeah, yeah. He 100 points last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not that this year, right? But it's also it would be a little bit harsh to say I expected a bit of a decline from Stamkos. It doesn't surprise me as much as Hedman. Like I wasn't expecting Victor Hedman to kind of
Well,
take a
Hedman's
step
not even on
back.
the first power play anymore most of the
Yeah,
time. It's Sergachev.
yeah, but and then that's the other thing too is you've got Sergachev, Chernak, you've still got the defense on Tampa to step up and fill those gaps. So yeah, I think if you're looking at Toronto, this is the best team Toronto has ever put together. But I just still look at Tampa and look at the way those players are playing and say it's still not going to happen against that team this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that. I like I've said before, I think if it's gonna happen, it's this year. It's gonna take some magic, it's gonna take some bounces, it's gonna take some heart and soul, and it's gonna take having your back against the wall and pushing yourself outward and taking it over. And yeah, I think honestly, dude, I think if they get past the first round, they could run to the finals.
Oh, totally. Well, I think it's kind of like Washington with the second round in
Yeah,
2018, right? Washington never did anything, and then the second that Kuznetsov goal goes in against the Penguins, they're winning the cup, right? I know they were down 3-2 against Tampa, but even when they were down 3-2 against Tampa, I was sitting there, no doubt Washington's going to beat them, and Washington's going to beat the winner of Vegas Winnipeg. I really wanted it to be Winnipeg that year. I was super bought into that run they made to the West Final. Um, but I thought it was gonna be Washington the whole way through. Sorry, not the whole way through. I didn't think they were gonna beat Pittsburgh, but once they did, I had no doubt they were gonna go all the way. So I think Toronto could be the same way. Once you get past a hurdle that you haven't been able to get past in so long, you might just be, it might just be the momentum that, carries you all the way.
it's funny you talk about the hurdle, and, when I got home, I fired up Chell, and I never really got around to playing it, but, it's just on the home screen, and you said that hurdle, and it was just, like, playing a Rangers montage, and I'm like, "Huh, maybe that is the hurdle."
Yeah. Oh, hey, you know what? I that's the other thing too with the Leafs, right? Like you kind of think back for so long in the early 2010s, it was the Western Conference, right? Like there was years in a row. Like I think every year between 2010 and 2015, the West finalist was the slam dunk favorite, and they won every year except for one. And then kind of after Chicago and LA started to go down a little bit, then it was the East teams, right? It was Pittsburgh, Washington, like had a resurgence. Even in 2019, Boston was the favorite in that final, and St. Louis ended up winning. And we're still in that the Eastern Conference's stronger phase of the NHL, right? And so for Toronto, we're talking about this Tampa Bay Lightning team they'll have to beat in the first round, and then you kind of take a step back, you're like, okay, that's fantastic. It's then Boston, and then it's one of the Rangers, Hurricanes, or Devils, right? And I think I fancy Toronto against New Jersey. I don't think I have Toronto beating the New York Rangers or the Carolina Hurricanes objectively in a 7-game series. But again, once they're past the first round, it might just be a freight train that nobody can stop.
Totally, totally, and I think, that's what you said about how they're kinda like the Capitals in the second round. Watching Colorado all these years, it was, "Okay, they need to do what Washington did, and they need to get past the second round. They just need to get past." And when when it there's that kind of obstacle that's just been present for a core of a team for so long, when you see that team lose a game, like a pivotal game 5 or 6, and it goes to 7, it goes to 6, it's whatever, and you just sit there going, "Oh, no, not again."
Well, yeah, like even last year, you think Toronto Tampa when Point scored game 6 in overtime, that to me was the series winning goal. honestly. Toronto was up 3-2 in Tampa in game 6, point scores to force a game 7. That goal won Tampa the series, period. Right? Toronto was not winning that game 7, period. Yeah, you kind of think I was worried about that with Colorado against Tampa a little bit, right? Like when they were up 3-2 in Tampa Bay in game 6, I was like, winner of this game wins the series. That was the line of thinking I had. Even if it was going to be Tampa, I thought if Tampa won game 6 against Colorado, they were going to win game 7. And I was happy because I didn't want the Avs to win. So Tampa took care of them in game 6. But yeah, I know what you mean. And I think that was part of it for Washington too, was they beat Pittsburgh in that game 6, right? If Pittsburgh wins that game 6 at home, I think they then turn around, beat Washington again in Washington in game 7.
Do you think, just a random train of thought, do you think Pittsburgh would have beat Tampa in that third round?
um,
That's hard.
it's hard. It is hard. Yeah. It is really hard. I don't remember Pittsburgh's goaltending in 2016, Matt Murray was like lights out. Then in
Mhm.
2017, Marc-Andre Fleury had won the spot late in the regular season. He was on fire until I think it was game 3 of the East final, and Ottawa scored like 4 first period goals on him. He got yanked and then Murray played the rest. I don't remember Murray standing on his head in those first 2 rounds for Pittsburgh. I think it was the Islanders, I wanna say, that they beat in the first round that year. Um, and then the Islanders might have bounced them the next year, but, I don't remember Murray playing that well, so I would probably say it was Tampa, and then you'd have a really interesting Tampa-Vegas even Stanley Cup final. That would have been a weird series.
That would have been a very weird series. Yeah, I guess the goaltending matchup would have been Matt Murray had a 908 save percentage and a 243 goals against average.
Yeah,
Two shutouts though, and I remember them being dominant shutouts.
yeah, yeah.
And
But that was the thing with
Vasilevsky had a
Murray.
918.
Yeah, that was the thing with Murray is he could have like 2 dominant shutouts and then he could get shelled and just be a be no obstacle to the forwards shooting on him for the next game. And yeah, so yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about the Leafs more moving forward because that's going to be one of the more intriguing first round matchups is that Tampa Toronto one. Those 2-3s are going to be interesting in the East because then whoever ends up playing in that 2-3 in the Metro is going to be a really cool series as well.
The Eastern Conference Gauntlet is going to be must-see hockey all the way through. Even the fringe teams making their way in are going to be exciting. Like if you see a Buffalo, Pittsburgh, or Ottawa is putting on a good series against whoever they're playing against.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to play Buffalo. I know that sounds weird.
No, me neither.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to play Thompson and Dahlin the way they're playing right now.
Healthy Alex Tuck by then too.
Oh man,
Tuck is a playoff built player. Like
yeah,
that
I
guy's
remember he
genetics are playoffs.
he tore Vancouver to shreds that one year.
Oh,
When we played Vegas in the second round, like
he's a damn good player. I can't say it on here, but there's something that rhymes with Tuck that people online always say he does.
sure.
At this point, this podcast still has a clean status next to it. So,
I haven't marked any of the yeah. I do have the it's me when I post those podcasts that I'm in charge of whether the E tag goes up on it, and we can. I just where this is episode 17 and we've been good so far. So I mean, you
I
know,
imagine it's gonna be some time when there's something we're very passionate about, and one of us has a very, very good rant that we don't have the heart to take out, and it's just gonna be a spur of the moment thing where, like, you know what? We just drop a couple bombs, it might happen.
yeah. Well, I mean, I've got through a lot of Canucks stuff without dropping them, so it might have to be you. I feel like if it was me, it would have happened already.
So far, so good. Yeah, so next on our list, next topic we've got is looking forward. Looking forward past this season. We've already talked a fair bit, so no need to insert rant here about the measly price that Ottawa paid to get Jakob Chychrun. But what does this trade do for next year's Ottawa Senators? You got to think. Alex DeBrincat needs a new deal. They've got a lot of guys getting paid, a lot of forwards up front. Thomas Chabot's getting a nice price tag. You gotta wonder if they're going to, further address goaltending this summer. You gotta think what this, admittedly cheap Jakob Chychrun contract does going forward.
I think offseason for Ottawa is going to bring two new players, and those two players are going to see them end up being a playoff team. Now they're in the Atlantic, so they'd have to pass Tampa, Toronto, or Boston if they want a top three spot. I don't want to go so far as to say they'll do that for sure,
It's a
but
wild card thing.
yeah, I think they're a playoff team, surefire, no doubt. If yes, goalie in the summer, and then a right-handed defenseman in the summer. I think if you get a solid goalie and a solid right-handed D, you are set. And I think
But they got
the
Zub.
I
I
don't
like
mind Zub.
Zub.
I actually
I
don't mind
like
Zub.
Arden Zub.
Yeah, I like him as like a 4-5, right? Like
Yep.
I don't have any problem in that role. So he can play on the second pair with Chychrun or Shabbat, whoever you want to fill in there. But I think a top pair right-handed D. And when I say top pair, we don't need a number one defenseman. Like Eric Chernak to me is a top pair defenseman because
Yeah.
he plays that side with Hedman or Sergachev so well. So somebody in that vein to play with one of Chychrun or Shabbat. You got Zub playing with the other one. I'd love to see Bernard Docker take a step. He's playing in Belleville this year. He could be one of your guys. Maybe you go Shabbat, Bernard Docker, and then Chychrun, Zub, and then you get a reliable defensive defenseman to play the right side of Eric Brandstrom's pair, right? Because that's kind of what Brandstrom needs.
What about Jake
Is
Sanderson? Does he not exist?
oh, sorry, yeah. Sanderson's the left side too, right? And then that's what
Yeah.
complicates it even more is Brandstrom's not a right-sided guy. You don't really want to put Shabbat or Chychrun out of their comfort zones, but Sanderson's been so good this year that you kind of have to include him in that category as well. And it's, I'm not saying Ottawa shouldn't have got Chychrun because at that price, absolutely go get him. But now you've got this log jam on the left side, and you've got Artem Zub and nobody else on the right, especially when you trade Zaitsev. And Zaitsev wasn't, I'm not calling Zaitsev a top four defenseman, but he at least was at least shot the right way.
He was an NHL caliber player.
Yeah. I would take him as a 5-6 for 1.5. I would not want him on a $4.5 million ticket, which he had.
No. No, it's gonna be interesting to watch Ottawa as this core continues to develop and what pieces move in, which pieces stay out. Like, that's the thing when you have all of these young forwards and defensemen. They're not all gonna be around when this team's window fully opens. Some guys are gonna get swapped in and out. That's how it works.
Yeah, and so to that end, like I've talked a lot about you know, I, I don't love some of the decisions the Senators made in the draft, right? Like I liked Drysdale a lot more than Sanderson before. It's really hard to put the two next to each other because Drysdale had a pretty solid first season on a pretty bad Anaheim team, and then he was hurt all year this
Yeah.
year. Sanderson had a really good rookie year on an Ottawa team that was better than Anaheim was last year, so it's really hard to make a judgment on the two of them. But in retrospect, like honestly, wouldn't a Shabbat, Chychrun, Brandstrom left side, and then a Zub, Drysdale, and insert number 6 here right side look better than this, right? And
Yeah.
part of it is just the way the team needs evolved. I understand that, but the other thing too is picking Tyler Boucher 10th overall in 2021. I think is going to age poorly. Like it, if you had like a Cole Sillinger in that spot, like yeah, even Joachim Kamel was a huge fan of his. I was shocked he dropped to 17. You all of a sudden have some have something to work with, and I don't know. I don't know what I don't know what the plan for Ottawa is, but to me, it's two pieces from playoff contention at least.
Yeah, that's totally fair. And like, the thing with them is they're going to be good when Boston is no longer good.
Yeah, that's
That's
the
the
other thing I was
thing.
gonna say. Yeah, because I said I don't see the Bruins, Lightning, or Leafs dropping out next year, but it's coming, right? It's coming. Like
Yeah.
Pasta, DeBrusque, McAvoy, they're all still gonna be there. I don't think they're gonna. I don't. I think they're destined for. Unfortunately for them, they're destined for mediocrity. Bergeron, Marchand, and Krejci are all obviously kind of close to the end. I think Olmark, Lindholm, McAvoy, DeBrusque, Pasternak, Hall keep this team like a playoff team, right? I don't think they're not going to
Yeah.
be a playoff team for a while, but I think you're going to start to see Buffalo, Toronto, Tampa. Ottawa kind of filter above them in the next couple of years, and then Montreal honestly isn't that far behind either, right? Montreal maybe 3 years and they're passing the Bruins. So I think Boston's gonna be in a weird spot. Then again, um, players are gonna play for that team that they don't have yet, right? So
Yep.
it's all gonna be about how they handle the roster, how they manage their
Asset
assets and
management,
everything.
baby.
Yeah. So we'll see. Um, but regardless, at Atlantic, like the teams that are good are going to be good for a little while longer, and the teams that aren't good are getting way better. Like Detroit, Buffalo, Montreal, and Ottawa all have pretty solid foundations in place to improve, and the young players on those teams are all good, right? Like you got Detroit, you look at somebody like a Raymond, Mo Sider to join Dylan Larkin, who just got a big ticket. You look at the Habs, Slavkovsky, Suzuki, Caulfield, Gooley. They got 2 first rounders this year that are both gonna be probably top 10 picks, if not top 12-ish picks. And this
You
is a
can't
draft.
fully count Florida out of the race yet, even though their math doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good, and I don't the team doesn't look good, man. The other thing is just yeah,
Just
it's
while
not
we're
like
on Florida for a half sec, you have to throw some recognition Matthew Tkachuk's way because that guy has come fully as advertised. That guy has been an absolute
he's been a
monster
stud.
this
He's
year.
been a stud, yeah.
Like, he's been
Well,
a
and
top 10 player in the league this year, no joke.
he has, and it's it's hard to criticize that trade because of that, but James, like, did they not rip the heart out of that team,
Yeah, they did.
right? So I'm as good as he is, as many points as he's going to put up. I think Ford is in the playoffs with Hubert Weegar.
Yeah, probably. Probably. They didn't like how they looked in that second round, so maybe they thought, "Yeah, this year we take a step back, and then we take a couple years to reload, and we come back as true contenders in 2 years."
Yeah, well, that's fair, and
And maybe if they
it,
didn't acquire Ben Sherratt, then they'd be true contenders sooner.
well, they that first rounder they have this year could have been a big chip either at the deadline or at the draft, right? Like if they didn't trade that for Sherrod,
If that pick wins the draft lottery, I'm just gonna laugh.
that will be the worst trade of all time. Period.
Yeah.
Sign it. Literally, nothing will come close to that. No Philip Forsberg for Martin Erat. No Marcus Naslin for whoever the hell he got traded for. Like no, no.
What about Patrick Waugh for Jocelyn Thibault?
You know what? Because it won Colorado 2 cups, like you have to kind of say. But if it wins the Bedard lottery, man, like oh James, like no, like if you traded Connor Bedard for Ben Sherratt, that is the worst NHL trade of all time.
Yep. News coming across the board. Patrick Kane just got an assist. Bang.
Oh, thanks, James. I thought like
Yeah.
something happened.
Yeah, and, Panarin was also in on it. It was Kane to Panarin to Trouba.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. I really, really like that. Okay,
Well, you
good.
know what I like? Dude, I don't know. I can't even tell you why. Maybe it was just because I fell in love with him as a junior player. Like Lafreniere scored today. I'm so like
Yeah.
that's it. That's a career high, man. Listen, I'm telling you, he improved from his first season to his second. He is now one better than his career high. His career high was 31 last year. That's his 14th goal and 32nd point of the year this year.
Yep.
And I'm so like did I tell you I have a jersey coming actually?
Is it a Canada Laugh jersey?
It is a reverse retro New York Rangers Lafreniere jersey. I
Ooh,
bought it as soon as they didn't trade him for Kane at the deadline.
I like that, I like that a lot. I'd say that's one of the cooler jerseys in your collection. I've always really wanted his Canada jersey. That's one
I
that I
thought
really
about
want.
it. Well, I was always gonna get it. I have to get a Bedard one, man. Like if I need a new Canada jersey and it was gonna be him until this year, and now it's gotta be Bedard.
Well, when I visit, should that be our late night bad decision as we both order jerseys?
Oh, maybe. Maybe.
That's a possibility.
It's in yeah, for sure.
It's
No,
maybe take a bite out of the credit card kinda
it
possibility, but
it's on the table. It's on the table.
Uh, alright, well, there's one more thing I kinda wanna talk about in the NHL right now, and that's, when a team unloads, when a team fully transitions, fully commits to the rebuild, there's always a couple guys who get an elevated opportunity, and that's something you really wanna see because, There's 32 teams in the NHL, there's a lot more jobs than there used to be, but those coveted middle 6 and up jobs, those top 4 D pair and up jobs, the ones where you're actually a difference maker and you're a committed part of the core, you're a guy who teams want, a guy who's gonna end up getting paid your whole career. Those ones are a lot fewer and further between. There's a lot of transitional depth jobs out there in the NHL. You know, playing in the NHL is a blessing. It's something that it's the greatest achievement in hockey outside of winning a cup or a gold medal. You know, like it's something that can't be diminished. But you know, you want to see these guys be able to take the next step. And one thing you're seeing in Chicago right now is a couple guys take advantage of some open space. Max Domi and Patrick Kane traded at the deadline. Sam Lafferty traded leading into the deadline. You know, there's room. There's room for guys to come in and make a difference. Taylor Radish scored a couple goals the other night. That's a guy who was a decent prospect in Tampa, sick player in junior. He was just part of the Hagel trade going over back to Chicago. That's a guy who has a lot of room to do whatever he wants with this ice time. He can carve out a spot, he can earn a name. He's close to 20 goals. Once you score 20 goals in the NHL, that's always something that's on your resume. I wanna say he's at 15 or 16 now, something like that. If he can score a few more to end the year, get up to 20, get above 20, awesome. Love to see it. I don't care if you don't hit 40 points, whatever. That 20 goal scorer mark on your resume, awesome. Lucas Reichel, mid-first rounder a couple of years ago, I saw him get a couple points the other day. Awesome. Love to see it. That's a guy who might not have otherwise got as much of an opportunity if Chicago was trying to hold on to a competitive window, if they were trying to fill in blanks with more established guys. He's a guy who's cranking out ice time right now. Love to see it. You've seen this with a lot of things over the years. San Jose, they unloaded a couple guys. You wonder if you're going to see some of their younger players take another step, maybe take advantage of their ice time. It's something I always pay a lot of attention to post deadline and at the start of a season if teams unloaded in the off season. It's something that, as a sports fan in general, you love to see guys take that opportunity and not look back.
Yeah, and it's not mutually exclusive to the Blackhawks either. Like you look at the Coyotes, like Matthias Maccelli was kind of the breakout rookie this year.
That's right.
Matty Beniers was always going to do this, guys. Like, um, but even Barrett Hayton's taken a step forward this year. They got Juuso Valimaki from the Flames, who was a guy that I had sort of close to giving up on, but
He's
he's
loving this opportunity.
he's playing really well. Travis Boyd is a guy that was in Vancouver. They got him from Toronto on waivers. That he goes to Arizona and he's been in the top 6, right? Not so much because he's that kind of talent, but because that's just where he fit in on their roster. He had something like not quite 20 goals last year, Travis Boyd, but he was close to 20 goals and 20 assists. He had like 35 points or something. And so uh, I think these teams are actually, if you are a guy like that, you almost want to be there, right? Like as bad as those teams are, you're getting that top 6 minutes. You didn't say Philip Kurashev. I really like Philip Kurashev.
Mhm.
I've again another guy that I've loved since before he was in the NHL. He was really sweet player with the Quebec Remparts. Um, and he had one World Juniors with Switzerland where he had like 6 goals in 7 games. I think that was the Vancouver one because Switzerland played 7 because Switzerland beat Sweden in the quarterfinals that year and ended up finishing 4th. So he got to play 7 games. And he was sick. And um, I remember that they played Canada. I think it was a 3-2 game. Like it was tight. And he was their best player. Lucas Reichel, another World Junior guy. I remember that line. It was Stützle, Reichel, and JJ Peterka for Germany that one year. That they were so good together. And yeah, like I've always been a big Reichel fan. He just came up from Rockford, so he hasn't played all year. He's like what 8 games or something. And and yeah, like you're absolutely right. I think this is a trend that and we talk about expansion at the top of the episode, James. Like 32 teams now. Let's say hypothetically, even in 5 years, we have Houston and Atlanta. Right? That's not going to happen. We're not going to have 34 teams in 5 years. I understand that, but if you add another 45 regular roster spots, right? Like there's going to be more teams like the Chicago Arizonas that are just bulking up draft capital, prospect capital for the future, and more of these opportunities, right? And as much as how bad some of these teams are, maybe isn't great. um it's still you're still going to see these guys evolve into full-time NHLers.
Totally agree, totally agree, and it's the kind of thing where you just wanna cheer them on. You just want them to prove themselves and enjoy playing hockey because from what I've heard from some interviews, like, these guys love this opportunity, love being there, but I understand it can be kinda debilitating if you're just on the outside looking in all the time, always fighting for a job every year. That makes that career exhausting rather than enjoyable in some ways, I imagine. I'm sure these guys are still having a great time, they're doing something they love, but if you have that bit of comfortability, if you lock down that multi-year contract of a couple million per, that's life changing. That's a whole different life you're looking forward to post career. Well, there's one more thing that I just want to bring up before we head over to junior. Just kind of interesting question that popped into my mind as I saw that Braden Point just scored his 40th goal of the season. I was just thinking, okay, Braden Point already has 2 cups. No individual hardware, but it's still early. He's only 26 years old. If he ends his career over a point per game, gets one more cup, and maybe say an individual award, like say a Selkie or something like that, I feel like that's probably his most likely individual award, or maybe a Conn Smythe if possible. Yeah, probably that one. If he gets those two, say another cup and an individual award, and he ends his career over a point per game, Hall of Famer, yes or no? I say yes.
Yeah, I think yes. It's kind of like we were talking about with Ben on an earlier episode when he was on with us. Like I think that was way back episode 3 or something, where
Yeah.
my answer is yes, comma, but there are still Hall of Fame eligible guys that aren't in that I still think like to me like get Alexander McGillney in the goddamn Hall of Fame, right? Um,
Also, this
so
point thing is 20 years down the road.
yes, literally, yeah, he's 26 years old, so he's got a lot of. But I'm just saying like there are guys that need to be there more than a hypothetical 41-year-old Braden Point that's won 3 cups and a Conn Smythe. I think the other thing that you have to look at, like, I'm not saying that the 20 like Victor Hedman shouldn't have won the 2020 Conn Smythe or Andre Vasilevsky shouldn't have won the 2021 Conn Smythe. But if you look at Braden Point, 46 games in the playoffs over Tampa Bay's 2 cup winning seasons, he scored 28 goals and he scored 28 assists, 56 points in 46 games in those 2 playoffs. That is unbelievable. The one year where Hedman won, like Hedman had, I think, 10 goals or something as a defenseman, but Point played 23 games. He had 14 goals and 33 points that year. Like, so as much as you can kind of be like, yeah, he doesn't have any personal hardware, it's like he could have literally ran away with 2 Conn
Oh,
Smythes
yeah.
in another year, right? Um, and then you look again, you look at he just scored 40. He's gonna hit 50 this year, James, right? Like he's gonna be a 50 goal scorer. He's I don't know if it's gonna be this year.
Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
Knock on wood 50. I don't know if 100's gonna happen this year. I think he will hit 100 points at a different point in his career. He had 92. That's his career high so far. Um, but yeah, I also think the sky's the limit for this guy too, right? Like even as he's gonna be a machine on another team when Tampa's bad. That's what I'm saying, right? Like,
Oh,
um,
dude, he's gonna be the coolest deadline acquisition ever when Tampa's bad.
he's
He's gonna be
yeah,
like
he's gonna
32 or something like that. Oh, that's gonna
yeah,
be crazy.
yeah, he's gonna go somewhere where he's like the he's the Ryan O'Reilly basically, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, that's so cool. I've never thought of that before. That's really cool. That's one of those things that's like, I don't care that I'll be getting old when that happens. That's just so cool. One other thing worth noting on him as well, his first playoff ever, when we were talking about earlier when Tampa lost in the third round against the Caps, that was his first NHL playoffs. 16 points in 17 games. This guy's an absolute machine in the playoffs. It was, honestly, healthy Braden Point, Tampa might have beat Colorado last year, maybe.
yeah, 78 points in 76 games, right? Like all time. He kind of reminds me, yeah, like yeah, he kind of reminds me a little bit of like a Justin Williams, where like underappreciated until the playoffs. It's like, no, this guy's a stud.
Yeah, and then, like, above Williams, he has the regular season numbers.
Yeah, yeah,
So, you gotta think, like, I still think Williams should get in, debatably, but that's
yeah.
just
That
me.
one, that one's close. That one's close.
That one's on the edge. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that one.
anyway, let's,
Honestly, you know what? You know what that's gonna be for me? It's gonna be like there's going to be a year where all those guys we've ran through that need to get in are going to have gotten in already. It's just going to be a really weak year of players that become eligible, and then that's when Williams is going to sneak in.
Yeah, true. Well, in talking about this Tampa team, if Braden Point gets in, that's going to be Stamkos, Vasilevsky, Hedman, Point, Corey Perry,
Kucherov, man.
Kucherov.
Yeah.
I thought I said his name first, but I didn't.
No. Perry, yeah, Perry's a good show because Perry is going to get in the Hall. I love him or hate him. Corey Perry's a Hall of Famer, period.
Yeah, it's actually crazy that he's been to 3 straight finals without winning.
Yeah.
It's the reverse Pat Maroon.
I'd feel really bad if he hadn't won, but he has, so I don't feel
Mhm.
bad.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I still do feel bad to an extent for sure, but the
Well,
fact that he has been to the summit, like,
the other
that helps.
the other thing too, right? Like he lost with Tampa last year, but he lost with a Montreal team that arguably should never have been there and a Dallas team that arguably should never have been there, right? It's not like he was on these juggernauts that got their hearts broken. He lost 2 finals on teams that were very, very fortunate and should be very happy with getting that far, right?
Oh, of course, of course. But anyway, I think, that's do we have a tally on how many tangents that was? I think that was our most tangent-filled episode so far.
It might have been, but we also didn't prepare that much, like, as far as topics. Like, I think we had 4 NHL topics, which is a sharp contrast from last episode when our NHL topics were just literally every trade that was made.
Ever. We
Um,
had a 2.5-hour episode. That
we
will happen
did.
once or twice a year.
Yeah, that's a lot. So we're gonna move into junior now. 3 players to look at. One of them is kind of he's getting some attention. Lane Hutson, an American defenseman drafted 62nd overall in 2022 by the Montreal Canadiens, an 04 born Holland, Missouri native. So this is again, I'm gonna kind of take a step back and I've explained this before. I'll sort of run through this again. The best junior leagues in the world, it's the CHL, right? It's the OHL, the WHL, and the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, period. But if you want to go play NCAA hockey after you graduate high school, you cannot play in those 3 leagues because you receive compensation. It's not like you get a paycheck from those teams, but those teams financially compensate you for playing for them, right? And the NCAA looks at you and they're like, okay, you're now a professional athlete. You can't play for us anymore, period. So that's what makes these tier 2 quote unquote leagues so important. That's the USHL, which is considered a major junior league. I'm not getting into that, but the USHL in the States, which is, it's not quite to the level of the CHL. It is technically a level above junior A. And then the BCHL and BC junior A league, AJHL and Alberta junior A league, etc. So tier 2 players are so hard to judge, right? You've seen guys like Cale Makar come out of them and be superstars. You've seen guys like Tyson Jost, right? Just making a Colorado reference for you.
Dante Fabro.
Dante Fabro, right? Coming out of them looking really good and then not quite living up to the hype, right? Jacob Bernard Docker, we were talking about earlier, is another tier 2 guy that, obviously still can be that. You don't see nearly as many tier 2 Canadians as Americans. Now what's interesting is the Americans basically have it like the US national team development program competes in the USHL against other teams. It is ostensibly an all-star team in a regular league. That is that's sort of what we're looking at, right? And Lane Hutson played for that team because of how good that team is, right? The numbers those guys post, right? It's hard to judge. You know what I mean? You've got guys like Alex Turcotte, who, concussions aside, has not been the player that he was supposed to be, right? Come out of that program, was a 5th overall pick to LA. And you've got guys like Cole Caulfield, who people kind of thought his numbers were a little bit inflated by playing with Jack Hughes in his draft year. That looks like a stud, right? Coming out of that program. Because you draft players
That was
for the
also, like, the most stacked US national development program year ever.
it was because you had Zegras on there too. So you draft a player when he's 18, right? So a lot of the times, these players that are going to go play NCAA are draft eligible before they've played a game in the NCAA. You know what I mean? Like I work in the AJHL. There's so many guys like that where there are some guys listed on this NHL Central Scouting Registry from the AJHL that I know are going to be better than their draft positions because I've watched them play so much.
Yeah.
But they're not gonna go. We're not going to see an AJHLer in the first two rounds of the draft because it's hard to put 97 points in a tier 2 league next to Colby Barlow, 33 goals so far already in the OHL, right? Now Lane Hutson was one of those players. He was a left shot defenseman coming out of the US National Development Program, and Montreal took him. The 62nd overall pick. Um, that was low. He slipped. Like he was supposed to be a first rounder. He was supposed to be a late first rounder, early second rounder. NHL Central Scouting, I think. Oh, I looked this up. I think 25 they had him at going into the draft, and then he was like in the between 30 and 40 for most of the other outlets. And he slipped to 62. Now, this is kind of where I'm going with this because Lane Hutson graduates high school, goes to play in the NCAA. He's playing at Boston University this season, 12 goals and 43 points in 33 games as a 19-year-old defenseman. So these numbers are jumping off at you. This is better than Cale Makar was doing at this age, right? This is legit. So I just wanted to talk about him because it kind of, it's a good representation of what we talk about sometimes going down the junior A route and how those players are hard to judge. Like that's why college free agents are even a thing, right? Because somebody will go
Yeah.
unnoticed. Somebody will go unnoticed in a tier 2 league. They'll go play NCAA hockey, and by their second year, they've had this massive development because they were they were passed over as a 17, 18-year-old, and all of a sudden they're now 20, they're done growing, and it's like, holy crap, Jimmy Vesey's a stud, right? And Justin Schultz kind of had that happen to him as well. Um, and so you get this, right? You get this Montreal looking like they stole this defenseman at 62nd overall. And yeah, it was just it's interesting to me, right, James? And it's something that is going to keep happening, right? Because it's hard to judge those leagues against the tier ones, and you don't really, the level of competition in the NCAA is so much higher, then you kind of realize what you have. And it's really interesting because I think this is a good transition, and I'll transition it after I ask you if you have anything to add to that.
Well, one thing you mentioned the tier 2 leagues, one thing that jumps off the page at me is when you talk about sometimes these players going unnoticed and sometimes their numbers being inflated and then sometimes they're judged accurately. It's very all across the map. One player I want to highlight, drafted 3rd overall in 2007 after putting up 121 points in 53 games with the Burnaby Express of the BCHL, Kyle Turris went 3rd overall after that crazy year, and that's probably the earliest player that I can remember off the top of my head from, Canadian Junior A that went that early, and so that kinda sets the ground for a while, but I don't remember seeing another one go for quite a while that jumped off the page at me at least, that had those crazy numbers in, like, a lower tier junior league and just kinda transitioned almost directly into the NHL. I mean, Kyle Turris did go play a year at the University of Wisconsin, but, I mean, a year later, he's playing for the Coyotes, and the guy had a pretty solid career carved out. Yes, he wasn't your typical 3rd overall, didn't have the craziest career, but the guy was a difference maker at the NHL level for a long time. So just like you said, basically, I'm just bringing this up to echo what you're saying. It can be very, very hard to judge these players. Very hard.
No, yeah, absolutely. So to kind of segue, and it's just interesting, James and I have talked about how talked about this draft. We've talked about the fact that you have you have the top three this year, right? And I'm gonna put Mishkov in the top three. He's a top three in this draft in terms of talent. He might not go for other reasons, but you have the top three most talented guys in this draft: Bedard, Fantilli, Mishkov, and we've referenced that nobody in the 2024 draft would touch them. I still think that's true, but I did want to highlight a couple of the guys because the top two picks that are slated to go 1 and 2 next year are both playing tier 2 hockey, which is just an interesting parallel to draw. One of them is a Canadian playing in the States in the USHL with the Chicago Steel. I know you've mentioned him. It's Macklin Celebrini. He's from Vancouver with the Chicago Steel in the USHL. And again, he's playing in a tier 2 league. And again, okay, tier 2 arbitrarily, like it's it's technically major junior, it's not CHL. But in a USHL that, it's not always super easy to score. Like I'll give you a frame of reference. The number 2 scorer in the USHL right now is also on the Chicago Steel. His name's Jack Harvey, and Harvey has 29 goals and 59 points in 49 games. He's also a Boston University commit. Um, he was an '03, so he was already passed over in the draft. He's 19 years old. So you have a guy that is a 2003 born. Macklin Celebrini, James, is 16 years old. He's born in 2006. So you've got him 40 goals and 71 points in 41 games. He's blowing out the rest of the USHL right now. Um, he's going to be playing at Boston University next year. Yeah, like I just it's hard to say with these guys, but Celebrini looks amazing, and I was gonna and then go to the guy that's supposed to go second, Cole Eiserman, who is an American left winger, another 2006 born, playing in that U.S. national team development program, right? And in the USHL, he's played 25 games, has 18 goals, right? He's gonna go to the University of Minnesota next year. So I don't actually remember off the top of my head. Um, I don't think it's ever happened where we've had 2 USHL guys go 1-2 in the draft, 2 NCAA committed players go 1-2. I don't think it's ever happened. So it's just interesting that it's gonna be 2024 with 2 guys, like I said, 2 guys that would probably go 4-5 in this draft, maybe Celebrini at 4. I don't think Eiserman would beat out Carlson. He might go 7 in this draft. If you're I think it would probably be the top 3, Bedar Fintili, Mishkov, then Celebrini, then probably Carlson Benson, and then you'd have Eiserman. But yeah, I do you know? I don't think it's happened. I'm gonna say no, that we've never seen this happen.
I don't believe it's happened, no, but, we've been trending towards this for quite a while, like we referenced how stacked and loaded that age was, that Jack Hughes, Alex Turcotte, Trevor Zegras, Cole Caulfield, how stacked that group was, and, it kinda just it's basically just continued since then. There's so many more guys going the US development route, playing uh, playing out tier 2 leagues and then going and committing to college, university, whatever in the States. It's been a trend that's been followed. Like I think in this past like 5 years moving forward, it's been nonstop just how incredible US hockey has been developing players. They're putting so many prospects into the first round of the NHL draft. It's actually insane. It's insane to look at it.
Well, and it's not just Americans either, it's Canadians too, right? Like I
Yeah,
work in a league. I work for a team. We have 12 players on my team that are going to go play NCAA hockey after they're done. And off the top of my head, I think 10 of those 12 are Canadians, right? Um,
right.
we got an American kid going to Yale and an American kid going to the University of New Hampshire, but the rest of them are all Canadian kids. So yeah, it's not just it's not just the Americans that are going through the development program because it makes sense, right? It's
Yeah,
logical for you to kind of say, well, um, it's a good it's a good fallback, right? Because if you're not going to be a professional hockey player, you are getting, if you're at the top of the draft, you're getting a full ride scholarship, right, to do whatever you want to do.
that's right.
Um, so I think, yeah, I really, yeah, I think it's a good idea for a lot of reasons. I completely understand the allure of the CHL route because, you often have, it's harder competition. It might be better for your development as well. Um, and you're gonna get that look, right? If you're playing in the OHL, the identical numbers in the OHL and the USHL, the guy in the OHL is gonna get more of the look, right? He's gonna get that first round. He's gonna get that priority. He's gonna get he's going to get the attention. He's going to get the opportunity, right? That a tier 2 player just isn't going to get with the same numbers. So, there's pluses to both, and like you said, it's trending in the direction that it's just the tier 2 to NCAA route is becoming more and more common.
Interesting to note as well, Macklin Celebrini went the Shattuck St. Mary's prep route before where he is now. And notable alumni from Shattuck, Sidney Crosby, Jonathan Taves, Zach Parisi on that next tier, like Drew Stafford, Kyle Okposo, Derek Stepan, Jack Johnson, Emerson Edom, Ryan Malone, Patrick Eves, a guy like Chris Porter even. Like they've consistently developed quality NHLers. And Joe Corvo's another guy that
What
pops
a
to mind.
what a name.
Joe Corvo. But
Love it.
yeah, it's they've done an incredible job with high-end talent and getting them ready for the next level, and it looks like that's just continuing with Celebrini. So it's no doubt in my mind that when we look at that alumni list several years down the road, that he's just on that list. That's another guy, just another piece of notable alumni. I know I know before we go into our fun part of our pod, you want to talk a little bit about the AJHL playoffs, something you're pretty invested in as you're pretty involved with the team.
Of course. I'm just excited, man. I'm just excited. We got game 1 against Calgary tomorrow. By the time this goes out, we will have played games 1 and 2 against Calgary. We'll we'll know how this series is taking shape by then. And yeah, like I said, like you said it yourself, and I'm invested in this team. I'll be on the bus to Calgary both ways, both games, and it's gonna be fun. Playoff hockey can't be beat, and when you're even a little bit involved in it, it sucks you up. You get that fever, and yeah, um, I'm ready. I'm excited.
Awesome. Love to hear it. And just one last piece of junior things. I didn't have this on our list, but over in the BCHL, one thing I want to talk about, my former coworker, play-by-play announcer for the Surrey Eagles, Joey Pitt. He's been doing something pretty special all year long. Aiden, you've probably come across it, but it's gaining a lot of traction because Global did a pretty massive article profile on it, and it got a lot of clicks online, and deservingly so. It's a pretty special story. This year, Joey's been growing his hair out, his curly mane, in support of the Wigs for Kids Foundation. Basically, grow a natural human hair wig for a kid who has gone through chemotherapy, cancer treatment, things along those lines. And the reason he took this approach is a good friend of his passed away in the summer. A lifelong friend of his after a battle with a form of cancer. I can't recall off the top of my head. Yeah, it's a pretty damn good cause, and they had a goal of, I believe, $10,000. They're nearly at 7,000 right now. I had no doubt it just keeps going higher now that it's gotten that traction from Global BC doing an article on it. It's a pretty damn good cause. And while I was working with the Eagles, seeing him do his his Wig for Kids update up in the booth, they'd point the camera at him during the broadcast, and him and color commentator, former classmate of ours, Lucas Celli, they would do a nice little update, and it's a lot of fun. And if you ever have time, tune into the broadcast for the Eagles and check out Joey's wig hair update and donate if you can. It's a pretty damn good cause. So I just want to put that one out there.
Yeah, he gets our stick tap for that. Yeah, Lucas did tell me about that. That's awesome. And yeah, people, and even, a junior A, let me tell you from firsthand experience, a junior A play-by-play broadcaster isn't much of a platform, but it's always good to see people using whatever their platforms are to make a difference.
Damn right. Couldn't agree more. And now to the fun part of our podcast. It isn't the great Canadian hockey podcast without a couple great games to play. And this week I'm taking a bit of a different approach. We've covered over the last few weeks that, career trajectories, we're getting to pretty niche, pretty odd names here and there. We're challenging each other. Aiden hit me with a variation of the finish that trade game last week, and I promised at the end of the episode that I'd I'd let him flex his draft muscles this week.
Ooh.
And so I'm coming in with 3 different games. The first one, just to warm him up, is a career trajectory, just before we get him into the draft stuff. So, this player
Are we following easy, medium, hard, or is this just a crapshoot?
this is just a complete crapshoot. It's all
Okay.
over
All right, let's go.
that. So, this player for this first game, career trajectory, played from 2002 to 2014. Career went Montreal, Toronto, Carolina. Done.
I was like panicking because I forgot to like start typing the teams. It's like, okay, no, it's 3. Okay, 02 to 14, Montreal, Toronto, Carolina.
Yep. And this is a player I very, very clearly remember. I already know the hint to give you if if it comes to that. How are we feeling so far? How are the gears turning? This part will have been edited, but Aiden's been sitting there for approximately 2 minutes now, and through on because I can see him on video. I've watched him look up at his roof a few times, look down, kind of confident a few times, look to the left now, not too sure, trying to figure out what to think, what to say.
Yeah, you encapsulated it. I'm just I'm sitting here just I got a bunch of names running through my head. I'm just trying to think of that. And again, it might be, like what sucks is based on the like based on the teams and then the order, I'm just assuming that the guy would have been a Hab before I was too invested. He would have been a Leaf when they were bad, and then a Hurricane when they were bad, right? Like, so there's no like playoff run for me to cling to, right? Because anything pre 2014 ish, I'm gonna have a specific memory of a player because of something like a playoff run, right?
Yeah.
And if it was just a guy that bounced around the Toronto Maple Leafs when they were awful, and then subsequently the Carolina Hurricanes when they were much better, right? That's where I'm running into, is just trying to think of those random rosters without having like a playoff to have to just for reference.
Totally, totally. And yeah, like I said, this one was a bit of a crapshoot. Not an easy medium hard by any means. Honestly, I have no idea which ones of these are going to be easy and which ones will be hard. It's it's a bit all over the place.
It's funny that you said it's funny that you said Joe Corvo at one point, because I was just trying to think of like his Hurricanes teams too. But I think he was pre whoever this is gonna be.
I gotta ask, would you like your hint?
I don't know. It's easy to say no on the easy, medium, hards because I you know uh, I know that there's a harder question coming. It's hard on this one
Well,
to.
I mean, it's hard to say that because the other two are draft focused in your time watching hockey.
Okay, I've got somebody. I gotta say, like, I have literally no recollection of this guy being a Hab. Um, but I know he was a Leaf. I remember him 100% as a Leaf, and I know he at least was a Hurricane eventually. I just don't think his career ended in 2014, and I'm pretty sure he was a Colorado Avalanche. John Michael Lyles?
No, not
No,
that one.
because he was an Av, right?
He was an Av for the most part.
Okay, because I remember him being a Leaf and a
He
Hurricane,
was,
but
uh he was an Av for quite a while, and then he was a Leaf, and, stints in Boston and Carolina as well, and I believe a return to Colorado briefly.
yeah. Okay, who was it?
You want your hint or no?
I just got it wrong, bro.
Oh, don't we usually give you 2 guesses?
Do we? Oh,
Do are you
okay.
are you admitting defeat on this one?
Well, no, 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 because I have to regroup then. Yeah,
Would
I
you
thought I
like to
had.
regroup with a hint?
I guess so. Yeah, let's do it.
Alright, well, after a fairly successful chunk of time with the Montreal Canadiens and being a role player with them, a fairly dominant role player, not necessarily in points, but doing his job and playing a lot of minutes, this player ended up in Toronto, where coaching staff tried to convert him to a power play anchor, and, he was much maligned for not being able to do that. Spent a decent amount of years in Toronto, getting paid a decent amount before ending his career in Carolina.
Like I know who you're talking about, man. Oh man.
Part of some pretty bad Phil Kessel, Joffrey Lupul, Tyler Bozak led Leafs teams.
Yeah.
And Dion Phaneuf, can't forget him.
It was Mike Komisarek?
That's the guy.
Yeah. No, I remember him almost being like a scapegoat. Like he
Oh,
people
yeah.
just love to crap on him in Toronto, and yeah, he was just a guy in Montreal, and I remember like him. being like on. I remember having like hockey news yearbooks where they had him like on the depth chart, like beside Phaneuf on the top pair. Like,
That, I don't know why this just reminded me, but, there was an Austin Matthews interview, I believe, about how, one time Justin Bieber called him after a game, and he's like, "You know what we really need? We really, really need a Brian McCabe type. We really need a Brian McCabe on this Leafs team." And, Matthews joked about how it's really funny because, like, Justin Bieber, one of the biggest stars in the world, just calls him like a family member that's a hockey fan and just, like, just throws in his input, you know?
yeah, yeah, it's yeah. I'm
Alright,
surprised. I thought Justin Bieber was gonna say we need a Mike Commissaric, which would have been hilarious, but
that's what this reminded me of, and I'm
yeah.
surprised he didn't because that would be hilarious.
What a line. Okay, next.
Alright, so, next piece. I need you to name 3 players the Vancouver Canucks selected in the 2013 NHL entry draft.
Okay. Bo Horvat,
Yep.
Hunter Shinkaruk,
Uh-huh.
and now we struggle.
Now we struggle.
um,
There's 2 that I think you're going to be able to name.
Cole Cassels.
Yes, Cole Castles, son of
Yeah,
Andrew Castles.
yeah.
I thought you were either
Who's
gonna name him or Jordan Subban.
Jordan Subban? Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay. That
I was,
wasn't
I was thinking of going 2014, but I was like, he can name 5. Like, come on.
yeah, 2014 was a yeah.
Virtanen, McCann, Demko, Tryamkin, Forsling. I was like, he's gonna get
Yeah.
all of them.
Yeah, yeah, I think I would've.
Alright, so this one is fun. I really like this one. This one, I don't know if this is beyond your expertise. Um, I need you so the draft is the 2014 NHL entry draft. This is a loaded one, like, you have to do a bunch of stuff, and so you're gonna wanna
What?
bust you're gonna wanna bust out the pen and paper.
Okay, that's my notes application on my computer, but here we go.
So, it's the 2014 NHL entry draft. I need you to name 2 players from the 2nd round, 3 players from the 3rd round, and 1 player from the 4th round.
This is such a weird question, man.
2 players from the 2nd round, 3 from the 3rd round, and 1 from the 4th round.
Okay, well, I would have gotten him even if you didn't just hand him to me on a platter, but Thatcher Demko in the second.
Okay.
Um, so I'll even just write that. Okay, Demko. 2014 round 2. I know Pasternak was a late first rounder.
Mhm.
Um,
I have to say this draft is absolutely loaded. Just so many NHLers and even, like, fringe guys who I thought were gonna make it as well.
yeah, round 3, 2014.
You still gotta get another from round 2.
I know. California dreaming.
Does that song help you think?
It's relaxing. It relaxes
Good,
me
good.
actually. I like that song a lot. No. That's another one of those like I have there yeah, there's weirdly famous songs that I guess just I missed, right? Or my dad showed me at a time where I wasn't ready to embrace good music. And and I just forget about and then I'm listening to like years later. I'm like, holy crap, this is like amazing.
Yeah. Ooh, Patrick Kane, power play goal for the Rags. Love to see it.
Braden Point was a third rounder, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So you have to get 1 more 2nd rounder, 2 more 3rd rounders, and a 4th rounder.
Okay, you know what's frustrating, and I'm not mad at you or anything, is the fourth rounder because I know two goalies, Igor Shesterkin and Ilya Sorokin, both went late in this draft. I just don't know A, if one of them was a fourth rounder, and B, if it's only one, I don't know which one it is, but I know they both went. They both went in the fourth round or later, but I don't know specifically about the fourth round. But I'm quite sure it's one of them, and I'm leaning Shesterkin. Um, I don't I'll leave that to the end, so I at least, like, fill out the rest of this question. before I swing and miss on something I'm not super confident with. Um,
And I gotta ask, as you're working on this, with your level of draft expertise, as we've covered, is this question easy, medium, or hard?
I'm gonna say this is like I'm gonna say this is medium,
Okay, thought
but
so.
it's
Thought so. I didn't
definitely
think he was pushing it
no, it's definitely on the hard side of medium though.
because it's so many names.
It's so many names, and then it's back to the like like I again I know Shesterkin and Sorokin were late, right? And I don't know if either of them, both of them, or neither of them were specifically in the fourth round.
Mm,
Um, I know there was another goalie picked right after Demko because I remember at the time thinking something to the effect of, "I think we got the better one." Um, and I
you're
think
on a
that
good track.
goalie
There were a lot
was
of NHL goalies in this draft.
yes, no, I remember that too because I've done like I've done redrafts for fun with a buddy, whatever, and I remember this draft being goalie heavy. Was it Nedeljkovic?
Correct. That's round two.
Okay.
You're dealt with.
Okay. Cool. I'll delete that. So I have two more third rounders besides Point, and then one fourth rounder. I'm just staring at Point's name right now, trying to like think of who would have gone around him. Dude, I even remember at the time liking Point when he was playing for Moose Jaw. It's like,
Yep.
oh, where did Vancouver pick Triamkin? I think that was a third rounder too. Hey,
Correct.
yeah, okay,
And I gave you that one earlier.
yeah. That helped. That helped.
So
I
you
couldn't
need
remember
one more third
exactly.
rounder and then you need a fourth rounder.
Dude.
By the way, if you were to ask me this question, I would be able to say, yeah, all these players went in the draft, but I have no idea where back
Yeah.
in the first round.
Okay. Shesterkin was a fourth rounder, right?
Correct.
Okay. This is hard, man. I don't know if I'm even gonna be able to do this. Like I already used my hand, didn't I? Yeah, I
You
did.
did.
It was not Gustav Forsling. I know that.
Correct. Not
uh,
Gustav Forsling.
yeah, he was like late. Not like late. Yeah, it was late. Okay. I gotta guess.
Let's hear it.
Kevin LeBanc.
No, he was not in the third round.
Okay.
You get to get one. Since there were so many players, you can get one more wrong.
I get one more wrong. Can we get a fact check on when LeBanc? Not that I believe he was not in the third round. I was just like, when was LeBanc drafted? Because I want to know if I even got the year right. Because he was kind of a random late bloomer too.
He was a sixth rounder.
In that year?
Yep.
Okay, interesting.
I'm just looking at all these third rounders and like, damn, a lot of them played in the NHL.
Man, am I missing a superstar? Like,
You're missing a couple good players.
yeah.
I wouldn't put the superstar label on any of them. Maybe one of them on the fringes of it.
Seriously?
Like if Braden Point's a superstar, then this other player is.
Okay. Okay. Well, I was pretty sure Sorokin was after Shesterkin is all. Because they made up the Russian goaltending duo in the 2015 World Juniors,
That's right.
and Shesterkin was the starter. And I thought I remember him like being the better prospect and being picked higher, but I don't know. Like I know Sorokin went in that draft, but again, like I'm struggling with round and okay, I got one. It's not Sorokin. Maybe it should be Victor Arvidsson.
No.
Oh my god, I was confident with it.
That's your last one you can get wrong.
Yeah, I'm out. Was he a third rounder like the year before?
No. I told you you can get one more wrong. So if you get another
Oh,
wrong,
really?
you're
Oh,
done.
okay.
You're still alive.
Oh, I thought you meant as in like I got one wrong on question 1 and then that was my last strike, the
Oh no, you're
the
good. You're good.
LeBanc.
You're good.
Okay. All right, I'm going with Sorokin because I have literally nothing else in my
Yep,
head.
he was a third rounder.
He was a third rounder. Okay, I said that out loud thinking that was
I
wrong.
was trying to keep my poker face going.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanna bring up this 3rd round, list some of the players, just everyone who's played in the NHL or at least looked like they have or on the fringes of it. Goaltender Jonas Johansson,
Sure.
Dominic Turgeon, Juho Lammikko, Nikita Triamkin, Warren Foegele, Rinat Valiev, Elvis Merzlikins, Ilya Sorokin, Braden Point, Louis Belpedio, Jake Wallman, Mark Friedman, Nathan Walker, Micah Matteo. That's a sick 3rd round. That's half
That's
of them.
not bad. That's not bad.
Well, I think you did pretty good. I think you did pretty good considering the mishmash.
Yeah, it was tough, but
You came out alive. You technically got all 3 correct. You
where
had
was
to
Arvidsson? Where was Arvidsson?
Victor Arvidsson was
Was he that? I don't even know if he was that draft
4th round.
in 14.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So I could have set him
Um,
for my fourth rounder, but
so just before we go, one thing I want to bring up. So we've said before, early on, haven't really talked about it much because I like to keep it pretty separate. But I work at City News in Vancouver, and in my time, 2 fairly established people have left. One of them early on, like my 2nd week there, he finished his 2 weeks, moved on to different things, and just this past week, couple days ago, Tuesday, I had my last day with I won't name the person, but a fairly established person in the news radio industry, someone who had been a part of it for 13 years, and just a very good, hardworking person that I learned from over my time there. I've been there for just over 3 months now, and I just want to say for anyone in life who starting a new career, getting their feet wet in an industry that, say you came out of school, you fell into, you walked into, whatever. I just want to say, with those established people, you never know when they're going to move on to different things, whether they're changing industries, different approaches in life. So I really just want to stress the importance of take everything you can, learning, knowledge, experience, work ethic wise from these people because as this guy was leaving and I was shaking his hand, I was really thankful for those times that he pushed me to work harder. When he mentioned, "All right, let's chase this. Let's work on this." When he said, "All right, what are we working on?" When he said, "Oh God, I think this is big." Any of those things. As I was shaking his hand, I was just very thankful for my time with him and looking forward down the line, if I'm still in this industry 10 years down the road, those are things that I hope to be able to emulate for people coming into the fold, for people walking into that door for the first time. And yeah, I just really want to stress the importance of take those lessons and really cherish those and yeah, that's really all I have to say on that. But Aiden, I know, for you, you've encountered people who have been, in whatever, industry you've come across, when in junior hockey, like you call games with Mike Moeller, that's pretty cool. That's something that I'm sure you take a bit from. So I think it's something pretty important that people should take into account as they go into work every day.
it's a good way to end it.
Well, thanks everyone. That was episode 17. Catch you guys all next week. Enjoy some hockey as we're all getting into that final push towards playoffs. And yeah, cheers guys. Let's roll that outro.